welcome to Everything Jenny. I'm Jenny Bergen, and I'd like to say thank you for stopping by my podcast today. I want to thank any new viewers or returning viewers and just say that it's really such an honor to have you here and to have you spend an afternoon just spending time with me. It really is special to see when people view or subscribe, and so I just want to say thank you for stopping in and taking the time out of your day to spend with me today. Let me see. The first thing I do want to point out is I do have a Ravelry group that is Everything Jenny, but I'm also known on Ravelry as Book After Book. I have an Instagram, a Facebook, and an Etsy shop that are all under Everything Jenny, and I have a website that is everythingjenny.com. The the location you can see today is back in my craft room. And I have kind of an overcast, chilly day out, so I thought it was perfect to record. Of course, I have some extraneous noise going on, so if it gets to be too loud, I may stop and try again later and put on the lights and see how it works out. First thing I want to talk about today is my works in progress. And I was working last time on the Come What May shawl by Susan B. Anderson. And I've posted, for those of you that follow me on Instagram, I've posted it on my Instagram and showed some pictures of my progress. I am now to just 10 rows away from being completed with this shawl. So the shawl is turning out beautiful. And I know once it's blocked, you're really going to be able to see the eyelets and the lace pattern that's in here. I know right now it's a little hard to see, but you can see those patterns in there with those holes. And I just finished the the stocking knit section and another lace section, and like I said, I'm only 10 rows away from the Russian bind off. In her pattern, she does offer a way to bind off with beads or a way to go ahead and just bind off without the beads. And for myself, I prefer to not have the beads on there because I want to be able to wear it and be a little more casual with it. So I'm going to bind off just doing the Russian bind off without beads. And that, I'm hoping I will have that done probably within the next day or so. And then I have not made a ton of progress on my Be My Valentine socks, but I did get some further progress. And oops, I have a little stitch that came off there. Let me get that back on really quick. Perfect. And these, you can see here, I've gotten more of my foot, the actual foot done, with this being the toe. And I'm almost ready. I'm about an inch away from ready to start my heel. And on this one, I don't know if you can see here, but this nice little pattern here is going to end up being X's and O's. And when it's stretched out and it's on the sock blocker, you'll be able to see that better. But currently, it's a little tough to see the actual X's and O's on the camera. So I'm planning to go ahead and have at least one of the socks done this week. And we'll see how much progress that actually gets done. I've also got some other sewing projects I'm working on, and I've been cutting out patterns, and so I may or may not get quite as far as I wanted on my socks. But that one is almost ready for the heel. And I don't have it with me up here in my craft room, but I am still working on the True Friend sweater. And I have not made a ton of progress. I think the last time I showed you, I had the neck cast on and I had a little bit of the front started. So it's a little bit longer, but the front panel of just the solid first color is about 12 inches or so. And so I have not gotten quite that far. And so when I get a little more progress on that, I will show you what I've done with it. But I am loving my colors. So my color choice so far, I'm loving that. And I did not bring up my Rustling Leaves beret, but I did post a picture on my Instagram so you can see it there. It is in the gray Woolfolk colorway. It was a very easy to follow pattern. And the directions were easy to follow. You could follow either a chart or you could follow a written out description row by row. And it has an incredible finished design with each of the leaves coming up and around. And then it finishes with just a little kind of pulled out I-cord finish in the center. And once I finished it, I had been working on this shawl, the Whispering Pines shawl, and realized I didn't have enough to do the picot bind off. And I kind of set it aside and I thought, okay, I really wanted the picot bind off, but I couldn't decide if that was actually going to happen or not. So what I decided was that I would take the yarn that I had left over from Woolfolk from the Rustling Leaves Beret and add that on to this shawl. So you can see here, let me get it off so I can show you up close. So this is how I did the picot bind off. And when I blocked it so it had kind of that scallop to it. That's not necessarily in the pattern. When she blocks it, she just blocks it and pulls it all so it's along the line of a picot. It would have been a lot of pins, and I could have done that, but I was really feeling like I wanted to kind of have more of a scallopy edge on it since it was a contrasting color anyway. And so I did finish this and this shawl, and it's long enough that I can wrap it around my shoulders for just a little bit of covering on my shoulders, or I can wear it like I had it on before, where I just kind of put it up and around and then up and around and stretch it out, pull it out. So, and I tend to wear a lot of the little shawls that I have this way and just put them on. And then I've got kind of a scarf shawl, and a lot of times I'm wearing a V-neck shirt or a longer scoop shirt. So being able to just cover up when it's a little chilly is great. So I did finish that, and I did get to actually put on my binding. So I was very excited to finish this, and I finished it, blocked it last week, and then I was able to wear it yesterday to an event my husband was playing at, and it was a little chilly, possible rain, and so I was able to wear it and have that warmth, and worked out great because when I was warm, I could take off my jacket and leave on my scarf, or I could just leave on my jacket and my scarf if I was really chilly. So I really, really liked how that worked out. And then let's see. This week, and the bonus with that is now I can wear this and my Rustling Leaves beret at the same time because the yarn is now going to match. So I had that little accent here created with the hat, so now I've got this perfect little setup. So I'm excited about that. This week I am going to be casting on the Multnomah shawl with that sunlit spruce that I showed you last time on the podcast. The shawl pattern is by designer Kate Ray, and I will have that in my podcast notes for you should you want to look that up. And the pattern's available on Ravelry. And the yarn, like I showed last week, is going to be by Material Culture Fiber Arts. And the colorway is Sunlit Spruce. So it was that really pretty green with lighter colors and then those little dark black flecks. And I'm excited to see how that turns out. The shawl that I was working on this week I showed you, the Come What May shawl, is also with the Material Culture Fiber Arts. So that I'm loving how the yarn is working out in the shawls. It's really pretty awesome. The needles for that, I'm going to be using my carbons. It calls for a minimum of a 24-inch circular needle. So I'm going to use my carbons, and it's a US 3 or a 3.25 millimeter. So I will be using that, and I will, again, probably cast that on maybe tomorrow or a little later in the week. We'll see how it goes. The new yarn purchases, I have got several new yarn purchases this week. There was a trunk show at my local yarn shop, and it was for Material Culture Fiber Arts, who is also available on Etsy. So you can feel free to look her up on Etsy, and I will post links again in my show notes. And this week, I bought this yarn here, and it's kind of a little bit, here it looks on the camera a little bit more washed out, but it does have these really pretty blues and blue-greens, a little bit of a limey kind of green, a little bit of a maybe kind of purple tone, and it just looks amazing. This is actually on her base, the Mongolian sock base, which is 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. And it is for one hank, it is 4 ounces or approximately 496 yards. And the recommended is to hand wash in cold water and lay flat to dry. And this colorway is aquamarine. So it's like the exciting new for March. She had a new colorway come out, and so that's the colorway that she came up with for March, was the aquamarine. And you can definitely see the different aquamarine colors in it. And I am going to be making a shawl with this one because of that cashmere blend in there. I'm really kind of excited to see how that makes into a beautiful shawl. The other one, I also, same base, the Mongolian sock base, but this one, oh, I love the bright colors on this. And this is called Tangled. And you can see here, it's got bright, bright yellow, and then it's got a deeper purple and like a hot pink and a little bit lighter sections. So that is really, really going to be awesome. And I am going to make a fun little spring shawl for that. I'm hoping with this one, I might go ahead and cast this on first before I start with the aquamarine, because I was thinking that for Easter Sunday, it would be really fun to have these bright colors with this bright, bright yellow and purple and pink, and have a nice little shawl to wear. And we're thinking about taking, my husband and I, taking a trip to see some friends who recently moved to the state of Washington. So we're thinking about, if we take that trip, I would absolutely love to have several shawls that I could switch out one a day. And so if I have this one and my Come What May shawl, and then I get one more done at least, I'll at least have some shawls that I can swap out and have at least one every couple of days. So that's pretty exciting. And then I did also buy from Material Culture Fiber Arts, from her trunk show, her Modern Era sock. And this is in poppy fields. And so it's kind of these bright oranges and purples. And I thought, this time of year, all of those fields coming out of Bakersfield are lit up and beautiful. And they're just flowers, flowers, flowers lining the hillsides. And it's absolutely beautiful and breathtaking. So I was thinking that I would go ahead with this. And I'm undecided. I kind of want to make some more socks that are fun and exciting. And I am working again on trying to get at least 12 pairs of socks done this year. And if I keep using all my sock yarn for shawls, I'm not going to have enough for socks. So I'm thinking about turning this one into an actual pair of socks. This Modern Era sock base is a 75% superwash merino, a 15% nylon, and a 10% tencel. And it's 4 ounces, but approximately 430 yards. So there's definitely enough yarn here for me to make 2 socks and be able to have something in my sock stash for more fun and exciting colors in socks. So I'm still undecided, but that's pretty awesome. I did buy something else at the trunk show, but I'm going to get to that in a little bit. I did at my local yarn shop just a couple of days before that. I was in and picking up some yarn I was planning on doing socks with. And then after I bought it, I decided, okay, one will become a sock and one will become a shawl. So my first one that I came up with was this one, and it's kind of coming apart here, but these fun and bright colors, and they're kind of the jewel tones. And I love these colors. And this is actually from Knitted Wit. And this colorway is called Monet's Garden. And this is her Victory sock base. It's an 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. And there's 4 ounces and approximately 420 yards. So I am thinking with this particular colorway, this Monet's Garden, I'm thinking about making my shawl with this. So I want to do a fun jewel tone colored shawl. And again, This could also be pretty awesome as my Easter shawl. So I have some tough choices. I'm not exactly sure which one I'm going to go with, especially if I'm casting on the Multnomah. So I'm not really sure. The other one I've definitely decided is going to become socks is also by Knitted Wit, and it's Fairy Garden, and it's also that same Victory sock base, but it's kind of fun and bright colors mixed in with a lot of the white. And so I'm planning to take this one and actually make it into a pair of socks. So when I finish my Be My Valentine socks, this will be my next sock cast on, I believe. And then I've been really looking at starting to spin. And I certainly don't have the funds to go out and buy myself a spinning wheel, and that would involve some seriously intense classes and things, and I am not sure that I am ready for that with my incredibly busy schedule. So I was excited and thought I would start with drop spindle, and I know that a few years ago I thought I would do this, and I was really excited, and I was in solving and I got a drop spindle. And the gal at the store was incredibly helpful, very sweet, and kind of tried to help, but I don't think she really understood how to talk to a beginner and explain how to do things. I don't think she really had a complete grasp on my ultimate goals. And so I did get this drop spindle, which is a high-low spindle, and forgive me, but I am not going to be able to pronounce this name. It is Schacht, S-C-H-A-C-H-T. It's a high whirl or a low whirl, so it can be spun either way. And this is a 3-inch whirl or a 2.2 ounce. And they obviously sell these at that nice little store. And she started me, getting me going on spinning this, and it is a mess. And she started me and tried to get me going and doing this, and she said to make this particular one, I remember it was just going to be a single ply, and there would be enough of the fiber to spin to then eventually knit a hat from. And it is not the softest fiber, so I was looking everywhere and I don't have the tag, so I'm not 100% sure on what it is, but I knew that she told me that it would come out to between a chunky and worsted weight yarn. So I have been looking at it and looking at the fiber, and it's just a natural fiber. There was no dyes or anything in it, and I thought I desperately want to start spinning again. And before I invest in a wheel and all of the things that go along with spinning, I thought I need to figure out how to master the drop spindle. But she had told me when I bought this that this one was going to be specifically for, and you can see here how bumpy and crazy this spinning is. So definitely not an experienced spinner here. But she told me that this was going to be for a heavier weight yarn. I forgot that at the same time that I did buy this, I remembered buying this. I remembered trying to spin and not having anyone around that knew how to do it. So the idea was there, but the execution, and maybe at the time that I was looking, there weren't a ton of videos on YouTube or things that I could really look up, and I felt lost, and I felt incredibly defeated. So I set it aside and didn't touch it again until I started to come up and clean out my craft room. And going to my local yarn shop, there are several women there that actually spin, and some on drop spindles, some on actual wheels. And I absolutely fell in love with the idea of doing it again. So I said, I'm going to go home and I'm going to get out my stuff. But I really wanted a drop spindle that I could spin something finer, because I'm working mostly in fingering weight yarns and sock weight yarns. And so I wanted to be able to spin something that would be in that vein. And from what I remembered, this was not going to work for that. I'm not sure because again, I am not an advanced person. I'm barely a beginner in spinning. And so this week I'm going to go ahead and take this with me and attempt to teach myself again watching YouTube videos how to do this to try and just finish the one that I was doing for this particular fiber. And then once that's done, I want to start a different fiber. But in all of that and searching through and looking, I discovered that at the same time that I bought this, or that my husband was so gracious and bought this for me, he also bought me another high-low spindle that is a 2.5 inch, that is a 1.1 ounce, and this one, lighter and definitely is supposed to be for spinning lighter fingering weight type yarns and things like that, is what I'm told. Again, not experienced, have no idea, but I do know that this is also a high-low spindle, and it's from the same exact company. And so I had this fiber that was the fiber I was working from for the other one. Then I found that in that same bag, I have this Ashford merino and silk sliver, 80% New Zealand merino and 20% silk. And this colorway is called Field of Rye. And in this bag, it might be hard to tell, but oh, it's just so pretty. And I thought, I have to learn how to spin this because this is amazing and I want to make something with this. So there are 100 grams in here, which again, not knowing anything, I don't know how much I'll get out of that, how many yards or anything like that. At this point, just being able to spin something would be awesome. So I also, in the same bag, found that I have this Northern Lights 100% wool top. It's a ½ pound and it's a product of Belgium, it says. And then it says, Louet, North America, make it your own. So I'm not really sure. Is it North America? Is it Belgium? Not really clear. However, this is that Northern Lights, and it's those bright, bright colors. There's some kind of teal and a kind of bright burgundy purple, not burgundy, like a brighter purple base, some yellow, and some blue and darker purple in there. So this should be exciting. I believe this and the silk are for the smaller drop spindle. So we'll see how that goes. Again, I'm going to go back to starting with the worsted weight, chunky weight one just to get a feel for it again. And while I mentioned earlier, I was shopping at the trunk show for Material Culture Fiber Arts this week. She brought in not only her spun yarn, her dyed yarns, which is her main thing. She also buys fiber and dyes fiber and sells that. And so she had some different types of fibers there. And this one is a 100% super fine merino, and it is 4 ounces. And it was just beautiful. So it's got this dark, dark blue here, and it kind of looks then like a purple kind of color, and it moves into these greens. And I think it's going to be amazing. But before I start with this one, since it's going to be my favorite of all of the fiber that I currently have, I am going to wait on this one until I start to feel like I have a handle on it and I've spun some of this other fiber. I did see on Ravelry, there's a group that I'm a part of, the Spindlers, and there's some helpful tips and links to videos, so I totally plan to check that out this week. One of the tips that I saw was that when you're spinning and you're just starting, one person suggested that instead of trying to spin everything in a day, to go ahead and try and spin about 15-20 minutes a day to continue to create that muscle memory, to know what it is it's supposed to feel like and have that repetitive motion. And then if you practice that often, like anything, it's going to become a habit. And it's going to become something you're familiar with and comfortable with, and you can only improve. So I plan to start this week, and maybe even tonight, go ahead and spend 15 minutes trying to practice. And if it's horrible, it's horrible because it's a beginning thing for me and I'm learning and I'm hoping to, create some beautiful things down the road, but I know that it's a learning process and I will get as far as I get and spend as much time as I can dedicating time to that. So that's my new exciting endeavor that I'm going to attempt some spinning. And the gals that I did run into, and Tria of Material Culture Fiber Arts, everyone at the local yarn shop was so sweet in offering to help me learn. And there's a day, I believe on a Saturday once a month, that they have the spinners all come in, and sometimes there's a few, sometimes there's quite a bit more than that. And they spin together, and they've offered to help me, and so I'm very excited. I can't wait. And I had even one young lady offer to get together with me and do it before that, even just to practice and help me. And she says, once I get going again, and then once I get the fiber off of the spindle and I tackle that, then it's easy to have confidence to try again. And so even though things won't be perfect, and you know they won't be perfect, just gaining the confidence that you're not scared to take each step of the way is going to be amazing. And I really look forward to that. So this week, I have to share with you some things that I'm going to call the cute, crafty, and practical. And I between my camping trip last time when I shared my podcast with you, and now I have picked up several fun and cute, crafty, practical little items. The first one, I don't know how many of you saw that at my birthday, my husband picked up for me some interchangeable carbons. And I'd already had several, so he just picked up some that I didn't have. And now I think to make the full set, that is the general size set, I'm only missing 2 needles, or 2 pairs of needles. So I will pick those up as money and time permit. But I didn't have a case because I didn't buy them as a set. So I picked up this interchangeable needle case by Chica. And it's kind of that, oh gosh, I forgot what this is called. It's that cloth that is like tablecloth material, outside material. It's easy to wipe down. I totally am blanking on what the name is. But the case zips around on 3 sides. And then when you open it up, it has a place to put your needles. And then this holds your the interchangeable cables, and then more needles can be on the other side. So it opens up and you have all these places to put the needles, which is going to be perfect because I have some that would make the complete set, and then I have some that are still interchangeable but not in what would have been the normal set. So I'm going for as many as I can to fit in my nice little bag, and then I can just take this and throw it in. Right now, I kind of have this mishmash of all of my needles and cables, and I'm so afraid to break something. So this week, with some birthday money, I went ahead and I picked up this case. The next thing that I bought, and I got that at my local yarn shop, but they do have a website and you can order through their website. The other thing I picked up was on my trip this week. I was in Carpinteria briefly on the way to my destination, and I stopped at Roxanne's and I picked up this little Notions bag, which is just so adorable. It's this little sheep here with the glasses, the super cool girl, and this is from Lantern Moon, and it has the little zipper with the keychain holder, and it zips open and it just holds all your little notions in there. It's just black on the inside. And so this, I'm carrying my little scissors, some extra little stitch markers, things like that. And in here this week at the same place, I picked up a knitting needle gauge by Haya Haya. And it is this adorable, adorable little guy. And in here, you can see it's got all the different sizes around here. And the cute little face on here, and oh, it was just so cute. And I thought, okay, I have some of the square ones, I have some of the bulkier ones, And they certainly would not fit in my cute little lantern moon case. So I have this one, and I can just slip that right into this bag and zip it up, and off I go. So this fits nice and easy into my project bags and my knitting bags, any bags that I'm going to take. I even throw it into my backpack with a project bag and some other things, and I take it with me. So those were my cute, crafty, and practical items this week. And I don't have any sewing to share with you this week. I have some sewing I got done, but I don't have it here and with me. So I will share that in the future. When it comes to art this week, I am participating in a swap. I signed up for a postcard swap that I had forgotten I signed up for. So in my crazy busy life, things have gotten hectic, and I forgot that I signed up for this, and I got an email that says, don't forget, send your postcards. And I went, oh, crud. So it is the Liberate Your Art swap. And the way that this one works is different than the love notes that I've participated in and shared with you. The love notes, I will participate again in April, but that particular swap is one in which you are given a partner and you send to that same person 3 different postcards. You're given a prompt of what to write about. It can be original postcards of your artwork. It can be copies of your artwork. It can be purchased postcards. It can be any number of things. And I've often shared that I have received photograph postcards, and they're amazing. So this one is the Liberate Your Art postcard swap. And you were to send 5 postcards. Now they could be original, your original design, but they couldn't be original postcards. So you had to have postcards made of your artwork. It could be 5 of the exact same design or 5 individually different designs, because the postcards were going to go to 5 different people. And when you sent the postcards, not only did you send your postcards, but you had to go ahead and include a little inspirational note, or like a little note on the side for writing that shared something. And it didn't have to be specific to anyone or specific to a topic. There were no prompts. You just wrote what you felt led to write and be inspiring with. So that was the first task that I tackled, is my trailer postcard that I sell on my website. I went ahead and pulled 5 of those out because I didn't have time to create 5 new ones and to go ahead and get them mailed off for postcards to be copied to get them back to me. So I didn't have time for the whole process of that. But I went ahead and I pulled my postcards. I wrote my little inspirational messages on each one. And then I packaged them in an envelope that I made so that it says postcards. And I actually have a envelope maker. So I went ahead and cut out my postcard envelope. And then I drew this on here and sealed it with some washi tape on the back. And that held my postcards. Then included in the swap, not only do you send 5 postcards, but you have to send 6 self-addressed labels, like a specific size. They are sticky back labels. You can handwrite them or you can print them, but they have to be within a specific size so that they fit on the one side of a postcard and they don't cover up your messages. When she does this, that way she can just take the postcards that are going to come to you and put down each of your address labels on there, and then you get those mailed. So I created another little envelope that says address labels, and I sealed those up in here and put that washi tape on. And then the last step is that you also have to send 6 stamps. So I went ahead and created another envelope for my stamps. And I did the same washi tape on the back. And you may ask, why do you send 5 postcards, but you send 6 address labels and 6 stamps? It's because the organizer of the swap is also Kat Sloma. She's going to be sending one of her postcards to you in addition to 5 other people's postcards that have been sent to her. So in order to ensure that everyone participates, she goes ahead and has everything sent to her, and then she organizes the swap. Because sometimes in these swaps, people say they want to participate and life gets busy and they forget, like I forgot, and they then don't fulfill their commitment. And so that makes it tough when you've put your heart into something and you're expecting to get some fun goodies in the mail and then they don't come. So she is getting everything sent to her. Then she does a day where she gets everything with the postage put on there and the address labels put on. And then she mails them out like on specific days, so that over time you're going to get your 6 postcards. So 5 from other people, 1 from her. After I did all of the work to create my nice little envelopes and do all this artwork, and I stressed about getting this all done and getting everything done on there, I went in and went to double check and make sure that I was sending all of the right information for the swap. I didn't want to miss anything. And one of her requests was to please not include any additional packaging in your envelope. She says you can go ahead and send your postcards, your address labels, your stamps, and then something that has your name and email address on it. She asks specifically to not include any additional little ties that make it look cute, not any little envelopes, nothing like that. She wants everything just shoved into one envelope, and you are more than welcome to decorate the outside of your envelope. So I took everything back out, and I took all of my pieces out of these, and I put it in just a white paper that had my name and my address, my email address on it, put it back in the package, and I did on the outside do one of my art pieces that I like to create. It's kind of the head of a girl and her flowing hair, and just really simple but still cute and effective. And so I went ahead and I did draw that on there, and I used water soluble crayons and then kind of watercolored it and put her name and address and then my return address, and then taped it up and sent it off. So after all of the work to create these, I believe I will go ahead and do something else special with these particular envelopes. I may just keep them for myself to store when I do buy stamps, or I have my address labels and I need to get my postcards out in my other swaps. I might just put it all into one bigger envelope and label it swaps. And that way, when I'm doing it for myself, I know where everything is and I don't have to keep looking for stuff. So they will get a use. I just am not exactly 100% sure on what I'll do with them yet. But this week, let's see, I got all of my yarn talked about. The sewing, I didn't have anything to share. I talked about the art. Shop update. So my Everything Jenni shop, I still currently in the shop, I have the double pointed needle holder cases in a variety of prints and different little snaps. And I still have project bags. I have a few that have handles and a few without handles. So those are still in my shop. And then I am working on some new items that will be posted in the shop sometime this week. I'm hoping by Friday, at the very latest Saturday. So I will have an update for you I will post it on my Ravelry group, Instagram, Facebook, all of the social media sites that I have my Everything Jenni. And in my Etsy shop, the update will be there by Friday, but Saturday at the very latest. So you'll see some new items coming in. And otherwise, I want to thank you for stopping by this week. I am still deciding on how often I will post. This week, working on having a week in between and making it every 2 weeks really worked out well, because it gave me that extra time to get more done, to be able to have more to share with you. So I'm currently sticking with every 2 weeks instead of every week. But with that in mind, I do look forward to sharing with you next time and having some new products to share, some new completed finished objects, some maybe works in progress of new things that I'm working on. And I believe I will also have some spinning updates for you to let you know how that's going. So, in the meantime, I hope you have a fantastic week. I wish you the best and happy knitting, crafting, whatever you feel like doing this week. Make sure that you're an inspiration to others and definitely let your inner light shine. I will see you next time. Hugs!